Ugreen releases this new PowerRoam 2200 power station, which is loaded with a bunch of features like dual solar inputs. It also has a 300 watt Anderson outlet, and it even comes with this little dolly that helps you move it around. But is this product any good? I've actually talked to a couple other creators who are YouTubers just like myself, and they're going to be reviewing this same unit. And so far we've been compiling our data together, and we're all pretty impressed so far on how well this is actually performing. The PowerRoam 2200 has a battery capacity of 2,048 watt hours and has an AC output of 2,400 watts, DC output of 300 watts, and can be charged with 1,800 watts utilizing AC or a combined total of 1,200 watts utilizing solar. This comes in at a price of $1,999 with a $400 discount and uses a lithium iron phosphate battery. This unit weighs in right about 56 pounds. Now this is everything that'll come in the box's owner's manual, quick start guide, 5-year warranty information in this screen, which is removable and washable, which is kind of nice because nobody else has done this to help keep dirt and debris out. You also have AC charging cables and a 12-volt charging cable. These are solar connectors along with a bag to put all of your cables in and also a bag to cover up the unit. And this dolly also comes included with the power station, which I did find handy because I could just store the solar panels with it and have it ready for use. As we take a look at the faceplate, there's a LED light on the left along with the LCD screen in the middle that's pretty simplistic but provides all the necessary information like the amount of power coming in and how long it takes to charge, the amount of power going out and estimated run times that are left depending on the load, and also you do have power out like this 12-volt socket providing 126 watts, DC 5521 barrel ports, and also this Anderson outlet that has 300 watts of DC power. You do have USB ports providing 22.5 watts all the way to a USB-C port that can put out 140 watts. You do have this IoT reset for your Wi-Fi connections, your main on-off button, along with a DC power button. This will turn on DC outlets, and this extremely bright LED light. This is almost too bright, as when you press it again, it gets even brighter, and it does have a strobe function as well, along with the SOS Morse code, which is definitely better than some other power stations I've seen, but probably still not 100% accurate for the servicemen and women that we have out there. On the left side of the power station is where you'll find all your inputs along with reset button. You also even have a protective earth, which I've never really seen that before in a power station. The AC input can handle 1,800 watts, and you do have 12 to 60 volts of solar that comes in, which we will play with this later. And this is expandable. You can put expansion batteries on top of this, which I'm not a big fan of the expansion cables as they are rigid, but I do like the fact you can stack these on top of each other. On the right side of the machine is where you'll find your 620 amp outlets with a 400 watt max output power, and I like the fact that they reverse the ground so the cables will go up and down versus the same. Now during my time with this unit, I ran several tests consisting of either 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and longer. During this DC test, I ran consistent loads to be able to see if there was any shutoff or if the USB ports would only put out a certain amount of power. This had no problem putting out almost 300 watts a consistent amount of times, and even running this DC load off to the side. Now, one of the things I really like is this Anderson outlet. A lot of flagship units out there do not have this for running things like diesel heaters. These don't need a lot of power except for startup, about 160 watts. But once they're running on full, this will only use about 30 to 40 watts an hour on full blast and provide a lot of heat and only use a little bit of fuel. And when I put this on low, it'll only consume 15 to 20 watts an hour, which is why these are so popular, and I wish other units had this. Now, Ugreen did send some solar panels out for me to play with, which I did find a couple small flaws in this that we'll talk about in a couple minutes, but I did want to show you how long it takes to set this up because this one is actually much better than most. If you've seen some other solar panels on my channel, setting them up can be horrible, but this one I put in real time so you could see, which took about a good 20 seconds. One thing I do like is that the stands in the back are easy to unfold and they're magnetic, so it folds up really easy. Also, the solar cells on this are monocrystalline and 9 bus bar with quarter cut cells, and they do give you this little dot indicator to make sure you get great alignment. And again, when it comes to folding this up, it literally takes seconds for you to fold it, pick it up, and walk away. Now, when I went to go test these solar panels, I had them lined up, but I did find a little flaw in the fact that the legs are really not that adjustable as far as extending these out farther. This is as far as they'll go, so I wouldn't mind seeing this changed. Now, when it comes to STC standards for testing solar panels, you want to make sure you're getting at least 1,000 watts meter square, And I ended up utilizing the cables that they provided, which are XT60 extension cables, and both of these will plug into the back of the solar panel and then into this solar combiner box. Now, when utilizing this solar combiner box, this does put your solar panels into series automatically, but if you're only using 2 inputs, you'll need to make sure you close this tab, as this is a functional piece of how this works. Now, when plugging into the power station, it doesn't matter which port you use as long as your input voltage is not above 60 volts. And on this day, I ended up being able to pull in a respectable 340 watts on average on a day that's just over 80 degrees and with a slight haze in the sky. Now, you can use third-party solar panels if you want, but the connection is actually the same. This is a positive and this is the positive, so they don't go together. So depending on how you want to configure this, well, you'll have to figure out this option. You can swap out these MC4 cables. It's really easy. I'll even leave a video link down below and a connection kit that's only about $25. Now, I did test out each solar panel individually just to see their individual wattage, and they each pulled in about 155 watts, which I would have liked to seen a little bit more out of a 200 watt panel. Now, one of the other tests I did was an AC inverter efficiency test while on standby. This is when you turn the inverter on and then let it sit for a duration. I did a 12-hour test, and after coming back 12 hours later, this unit only burned 10% in 12 hours, which was less than 1% per hour, which is actually better than a lot of other power stations out there. I also performed several load tests to check for AC voltage drop and also the amount of noise that comes out of the fans while under a load. Now, this is a low load test with the room virtually silent and the fans are not on. Now, this is a medium load test, and the room is almost 80 degrees at 79.1 as you can see. And right now the fans are on a medium low. I also performed sustained loads of over 2400 watts, and as you can see that it's still pretty quiet. The fans are on about a medium high. You can hear them back here, they're kind of rolled up, but also the voltage is holding very steady at 120 volts. I also did max load tests and checked the pure sine wave on this inverter just to make sure that the amount of distortion was acceptable, which is normally about 3%, and this looks very good. And now this is with the fans on max. We're about 4 feet away, but overall this machine is real quiet, and I'm still running a max load of 2500 watts. I also did an AC discharge capacity test. This was with a C rate of 0.25 at about 530 watts and a power factor of 0.99. This ended up yielding about a 4-hour runtime and giving me about 1,845 watt hours of usable capacity out of this 2,048 watt hour battery, which ended up being 90% efficient. I also ran a DC capacity test with a 150 watt consistent load. This ended up providing almost 12 hours of runtime and providing 1,860 watt hours of capacity. This provides 91% of usable battery under these conditions. Now, if you guys are interested in this, there are discount codes down below where you can save $400 off of this, bringing it to $1,599. But I'm curious as to what you guys think of this new power station from Ugreen. I thought it did exceptionally well, much better than expected. And honestly, I think this is going to give some of the other people a run for their money. If you guys ever have any questions, there's a link down below where you can get a hold of me. And I hope you liked the video, and I hope to see you next time.